Bienvenue à tous et merci de nous rejoindre pour cette nouvelle édition de l'interview. Aujourd'hui, je reçois Robert Lissinguet, chef de la section énergie, infrastructure et services à l'UNECA, la Commission économique pour l'Afrique des Nations Unies. Avec nous, nous allons évoquer les initiatives infrastructurelles régionales de l'Afrique, les problématiques de leur mise en œuvre, mais aussi leur nécessité pour favoriser l'intégration économique du continent. Bienvenue.
Thank you so much.
Merci d'avoir accepté notre invitation. Robert Lissinguet, on estime que l'Afrique perd 1% de croissance par an en raison de son déficit en infrastructures. Est-ce que les infrastructures doivent être la priorité aujourd'hui des politiques publiques?
Absolutely. Infrastructure is key to Africa's development. If you look at the continent's development strategy, whether it's trade, whether it's regional integration, whether it's industrialization, you need to have good infrastructure to achieve this objective. And the reason is very simple. If infrastructure is poor, or there's a road network, or if you're talking about energy, if you don't have an adequate infrastructure, this increases your transaction, your trade costs, makes you less competitive, and it has a negative impact on your economy. You said 1%. I know some estimates that put it at more than 2% of the economic growth, which is lost as a result of poor infrastructure. It can actually reduce productivity by up to 40%.
Alors, ces infrastructures ont une incidence directe sur la croissance, hein, vous l'avez dit, hein. On parlait de 1%, vous dites même peut-être 2%. Pourtant, ces infrastructures souffrent de difficultés dans leur mise en œuvre. Comment expliquer ces difficultés et quelles sont-elles, ces difficultés?
The number of difficulties that we have identified over the years, but let me say that these vary from country to country. One is the political will. The political will in terms of prioritizing infrastructure at the national level. I should say that we are seeing efforts by the countries. Many believe that infrastructure is generally funded mostly by development partners, but I can tell you that more than 50% of the cost of infrastructure today is covered by African countries themselves. But we still need to see more. We still need to see countries prioritize infrastructure by putting them in their national development plans and increasing the budget allocated to infrastructure. That is one. The second point is related to capacity. The capacity of African countries to prepare projects, which means develop a pipeline of bankable projects that can attract the private sector, development partners to invest in infrastructure. That is another issue. But if we are talking about regional infrastructure development, which is what PIDA is about, and which is why we are here, there are also institutional issues. You have the African Union Commission, the Economic Commission for Africa, who are operating at the regional level. There's this weak interface between what is happening at the regional level and what is happening at the national level. So we need to strengthen that dialogue between member states and the regional organizations to make sure that member states really own the regional project.
Vous parlez de ces difficultés-là, hein, parfois un manque de volonté politique et aussi un manque de planification des projets en amont. Constatant ces difficultés à mettre en œuvre les projets d'infrastructure, la Commission de l'Union africaine a lancé en partenariat avec l'UNECA notamment, vous l'avez dit, hein, le PIDA, le programme de développement des infrastructures en Afrique. Comment le PIDA facilite-t-il la mise en œuvre de ces infrastructures?
I think one of the ways that PIDA can promote or push the implementation of infrastructure at the national level is that we now have a framework of priority infrastructure programs. We have 51 PIDA priority projects, but now we're in a phase where we are going to the second phase of PIDA. But the point I'm trying to make here is we have a unified program that African countries and organizations could use when they are engaging with development partners on infrastructure development. That is one. Also, because the selection process of PIDA projects is rigorous. It helps us to have a pipeline of bankable projects where development partners could be willing to go in and invest. So I think PIDA provides a platform to keep the discussion on infrastructure development alive. It sends the message to our partners that we have prioritized projects on the continent. If you want to come and partner with Africa to develop the continent's infrastructure, then you don't have to look elsewhere because we have projects which we have identified already in PIDA.
Alors, vous parlez d'identification des projets, de sélection des projets. Comment sont sélectionnés les projets lancés par le PIDA?
Yes, I'll come to the selection issue, but let me come back to something I left out. How can PIDA help infrastructure development? Because of PIDA, we now have a project preparatory facility which is housed at the African Development Bank. I mentioned earlier that one of the difficulties in infrastructure development is finance. And because of, one is finance, second is the preparation of project. It's because of that that a fund has been created in the ADB to help countries to prepare their projects. Second, also, we have the Africa 50, which is an infrastructure development fund targeting regional projects. And these are all existing today because of PIDA. So one can say that PIDA has helped in creating structure for planning, but for also financing at least the preparation of projects.
Alors, l'UNECA, c'est la Commission économique pour l'Afrique des Nations Unies, on l'a dit, hein, elle est partie prenante du PIDA. Comment, à son niveau, l'UNECA contribue-t-elle à la réussite du PIDA?
In many ways, but first and foremost, the Economic Commission for Africa, since it was created in 1958, has a long experience and history on infrastructure development, and we can bring that experience to bear in the implementation of PIDA. I'll give you a good example. In the early 1970s, the African countries asked ECA to develop the Trans-African Highways Network, which is the biggest infrastructure development program on the continent. You have 10 road sections crisscrossing the continent from Cairo to Dakar, from Cairo to Cape Town, from Dakar to Lagos, Lagos to Mombasa. So we have this experience to bear. We also have experience in developing regional programs like PIDA. So we are part of the PIDA committee, and so we bring that experience there. But also, PIDA is about cross-border projects. And one of the challenges that this brings is that countries have different policies, laws, rules, and regulations, which is a big challenge in the implementation of regional projects. What ECA has done is that we try to harmonize policies in different countries so to facilitate private sector engagement. So concretely, we have developed what we call a PIDA law. So if you're going to invest in a PIDA project, irrespective of the country, you'll find that the regulatory environment is the same. That will facilitate investment in cross-border projects. So ECA brings this ability to harmonize the regulatory environment in addition to our vast experience of over 50 years in economic development, including infrastructure.
Alors, il y a plusieurs effets, plusieurs résultats qui sont attendus du PIDA. L'un des effets attendus, c'est l'accélération de l'intégration régionale. Est-ce que les infrastructures sont la clé du développement du commerce intra-africain?
It is key. The relationship between trade and infrastructure cannot be overestimated. One of the reasons why African countries are pushing regional integration as a development strategy is because of the small size of their individual market. And so if you want to enlarge the continental market, it means you have to move goods from one country to another, and physical infrastructure is key. You need to have a road from country A to country B to enable you to trade and to enlarge your market. So I think that today we're talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area. We know that if we do not improve our infrastructure, we will not reap the full benefits of the Continental Free Trade Area, because trade between our countries will continue to be expensive. You may have a situation where it is more expensive to trade between African countries than between one African country and a European or American market.
Robert Lissingué, vous êtes le chef de la section énergie, infrastructure et services à l'UNICA, la Commission économique pour l'Afrique des Nations Unies. Merci d'avoir répondu à nos questions.
Thank you so much.
Et merci à vous de nous avoir suivis. N'oubliez pas, vous pouvez retrouver cette émission et tous nos autres programmes sur www.africa24tv.com, et à bientôt pour un nouveau rendez-vous de l'interview.